What's up, guys? This is John from Team Rhinoki, and today I'm going to be bringing y'all a deck profile with my buddy
Edwin. How you doing, man?
Alright, so what are you going to show us today?
I am going to show you Saiyan empowered Broly.
Alright. Let's take a look at that. So, how do you feel about it so far? Let's turn those around too, so.
Honestly, I feel very confident with this one. This build has showed a lot more fruits to problems. It is finally able to last longer in the game. Used to, it can last the short term and maybe come up for another 2 turns past the mid game. But once long game comes around, it's dead in the water. It can't fight back. It's just won't win. That's the whole problem. So I had to find a way to slow the deck down to where it would no longer just run through all of its resources. It will have resources to spare, and it can just outlast all the other decks. The one thing I did like is that it slowed me down enough to where I can actually enjoy every single level and not really care if I level up and win to level 4. I can stay at level 1 or 2 and I can still beat the opponent down in the ground with all my resources, and they'd get mad.
Alright. So how do you feel about his stack overall, like the different levels?
As a whole, I actually enjoy it. Level 1 is pretty decent. I prefer staying around level 1 through 3. I found out that I'm not overly fond of level 4 too much. It has a powerful infinite power effect, but it doesn't shine out like level 2 does or level 3 does, because sure, I don't get to say no to the opponent's endurance, but every time they level up, I make them regret ever leveling up.
Definitely, especially on them ally decks on level 3. Oh, everybody's got to pay the stages.
Yes. And the mere fact that I can just start off the turn with Saiyan Domination, we'll get to that in another point. I can just reveal 2 cards on level 3 that are attacks. I get to draw an extra card. I get to keep going. I can keep it up.
Definitely. Alright, so let's take a look at the deck.
Alright. We'll start off with the physicals. What I found out is that with Broly's face crunches, they were powerful, but from what I found out is that unless you are running a very high amount of style physicals in the deck, you are not going to make this very useful. I dropped it down to 2. I'm kind of considering about knocking it down to 1, but it's just the endurance thing that's making me want to keep it at 2.
Definitely, but it's hard to count that as 10 endurance, because what happens when you flip it over in the middle of damage or the end?
Yes, exactly.
So, I know you were doing some interesting thing in our matches where you just put it back on top and then go from there, so pretty much ate all my attacks.
Yes, and that's what it's really more for. It's basically as a giant-sized sponge. I look at it as a giant-sized ally that has full stages just to say no. But really, the whole power effect is good. The hit raised to anger is good, but it's not great enough to where it can say it's level 3. It's better at 2, maybe 1 at best. And then we come to our next card, which I found new love for this card, and it is Saiyan Body Blow. I placed that back at 3 in this deck after I finally realized I couldn't keep the high aggression up. I found out that if I just start being patient, have more cards that just keep my deck alive, I can stand up against every deck. I've came across from Red 13s to Black Roshis. In fact, I found out that this thing actually doesn't work to him, because I get my resources on the board faster, while also irritating them enough to, if they let the attack come through, other effects will come into play to make it where I can keep going and make them regret everything.
Definitely.
After that is now a key card for all Saiyan villain decks, Saiyan Grab. This here must be at 3. It's I'm an old Yugi player. Basically, it's the same thing as drawing cards. Always having a 3 of you got a full set. But back to the actual card, it's pretty fun. You get a free anger. If you're big enough, it's unstoppable. So you get 3 stages, and to hit, you get to draw a card. So you're infinite. It's amazingly more powerful, especially if you're Broly. You can just overwhelm them by just having more card advantage against them. That's really what it's good for.
Yeah, that card can eat a dick when I play my other decks like Ginyu and stuff because you're always bigger.
Yep. And here comes the ace card that all Ginyu decks really don't like messing with too much. It's not the greatest fear deck or card in the game for them, but it's just an annoying card. I get to raise anger twice off of this, one from the card effect and one from the mastery for an infinite effect, for an instant effect. Get to lower the opponent in anger and destroy an ally. So potentially, I could actually be hitting the opponent's main personality instead of an ally. That's where this card shines. It keeps their board a little bit cleared while I can still keep pounding them into the face. And we got our favorite card, Mr. Ball Breaker. Wall Breaker.
I am a fan of that at 3 for every deck right now.
I would have that thing at 3 in my deck too, but for one, I have only 2, and they're not that cheap right now. But these things here,
not the promos either.
Yeah, exactly.
You could totally hand me those promos.
No, thank you. No, thank you. This one right here, though, it's common sense. If the deck is very aggressive and loves having anger, why not just take it away from them for a little while, at least for a turn, and it just does the job. It's enough said for what it means. It's a ball breaker. Now we have Saiyan Back Crash. This one right here is something I found that's really good. It helps out with anger and allies, while also being in the graveyard discard pile. It's a good card effect for a side effect. Basically, if I would to rejuve it, oh, guess what? I get to use a critical damage effect instead by banishing it. I get rid of an ally. Like I said, lowering in anger. It has double.
Steal
it's
them
double
Dragon
use.
Balls.
It has double use, especially Dragon Balls too. It's just double use for it. It's not one. It's a double time.
Yeah.
And it doesn't even have to be in the hand.
That is a plus.
And just for those people that love using Wallbreaker on me, I just say no to that as much as I can, and potentially get a free card from that card. Because why not? Leaping Strikes. Basically, whenever I would gain stages off of this card, the opponent would lose one. And that there is all personalities. So while I am milling them down, I can also get rid of an attached card that I don't like, or I'm forced to get rid of one mine that I really want to keep. And if it hits, I get to draw a card because I've done that. I basically just get to start making the opponent regret ever having allies, while also getting resources back. And potentially may have made them waste a wall breaker. Sad thing, it's a banish after use effect. And for our last physical, it is Saiyan left kick. It's just basically a physical attack that deals life card damage instead of stages. Mm-hmm. So if they want to stop it, they can, but I got other attacks that are going to do just the same thing.
How many physicals do you have in there?
I have a total of 18 physicals in this deck. That is styled. That they're styled and non-styled together. Altogether, I have 14 styled attacks or physicals for Face Cruncher, and that's again the reason why I knocked it down so low. Face Cruncher is no longer an essential card. Now here's the MPV card of this entire deck for all Saiyan decks. This here has to be a 3, Saiyan Domination. is the most powerful card in my opinion because it says if you're bigger than the opponent, you take away one entire set of cards out of their deck for one combat. Basically, no more Times of Warriors Tool, no more Namekian hybrid defense. There's no more any more events, and it just there's so much hate for this card. Like I've even seen you get mad a couple of times.
Yeah, because it's bullshit. You level up faster than me, even on my fucking 13.
Nah, not now anymore, but yes. But basically, I just get to hold them back for a little while, and I get to not be afraid of Time of Warrior Tool with this card, and everyone hates it.
Most Omni blocks.
Yep, exactly. Just Omni block hate for days. Then we got Broly's named energy attack. Broly's Eraser Cannon. This one right here is just meant for the ally hate, as well as drills and setups, while also giving me an anger. But the best part is, though, this deck here is more heavy on energy attacks than any other Saiyan decks I've found, or even seen. This here is a free energy attack, so bonus right there, get rid of a setup, drill, or ally, bonus right there, and get an anger, and it hits for 5 stages. As a call to win right there, just from the immediate effects. If it hits, you get rid of another ally. Why not? Get rid of another drill, get rid of another setup, and it's banished. It's not, oh, I get to send it to the discard zone. No, it's gone. It's gone unless they get something to bring it back. Even against a blue tag team, this here is evil. This thing is something that not anyone wants to really mess with too much. That's what I enjoy about this card. It's just hate. Just all around hate. And here's another energy attack that's also hate, but this is for hate towards people that are playing villains that have stare downs. Stare downs I cannot stand, and this here is a free energy again. Another free energy that I like. Saiyan Energy Outburst. Basically, the opponent can look at my hand, but they can't discard cards from from their effects. But it doesn't mean I can't. So I get to use fate, like the Saiyan back crash. If I want to, I can discard something, but they can't. So no more Devious Mastery, no more stare downs, no more anything that discards that's the opponent's effects. It's really just a free energy more than anything, but it just hate too. This one right here is another energy, Saiyan Pinpoint Blast, and yes, I got the promo version. Yay!
You need a second one.
I know, I really do. This one right here, it just basically gives me an instant critical damage effect before anything. And if I somehow magically get the ability to make it where it turns into 5 or 6 life cards and it hits, I get a secondary one. So, yay. But otherwise, this is really just capture a Dragon Ball, lower the opponent's anger, or again, get rid of an ally I just don't like on the field. That's really what this thing's for. Just a free energy or a free ally hate, capture Dragon Ball, whatever I want. Next one is Saiyan Rapid Fire. This one right here is just a low energy cost attack with a high damage. And the best part is, it is unpreventable. Sadly, it can't be modified, but I'm fine with that too, because the opponent can't do it either. Basically, I get an anger off this. If it hits, it's 5 life cards straight off their life deck. And if that does hit, it means I get another anger, I get another, plus I get 3 more stages, so I get 2 stages back compared to losing 1. So there's where the good side is. And again, critical damage effect. Why not? It's just critical damage effects for days. And the last energy attack I have is Saiyan Energy Focus. Now, if the opponent is a drill heavy or setup heavy or even ally or event heavy kind of deck that has attached cards, this here can just make it where I can just shut down 3 of the more annoying / painful cards where I can actually play again and actually come back for a win. It's just really just shut them down. Shut down specific cards like If I don't have any kind of way of getting rid of Wall Breaker, I can target it as well as two other setups or drills or any of my other attached cards if I'm forced to. And there you go. I get to have these here and I can regain my anger again. That there is all my energy attacks. I have currently 15 energy attacks.
So you'd say your attacks are about half and half, energy and physical?
Yes, just about. And in fact, if there was a few more lower energy attacks that were actually worth more wild to them, that also cost low, I'd probably place them in here over some of the physical attacks I do have. But right now, I'm finding out that most people I play against find out how fast that they are aiming for the wrong defense cards instead of what they normally see, which is what I enjoy the most. They always suspect, oh, it's Saiyan, so it's going to be a high attack, physical attacks. And I just start whipping out 3 to 4 energy attacks, and they don't know what to do. And that's how I actually get most of my games, because they expect the wrong thing. And I just tear them apart. Surprise factor. Alright, for my defense cards, for my physicals, I have Saiyan Evasion. This one right here is just basically, like I said, this deck here is all about trying to keep myself up and let myself get my resources back. It says, when stopping a physical attack, search my discard pile for a card. Underline the word card. It doesn't say anything about styled. For a card that says with endurance and rejuve it. So I can get anywhere from any of my energy attacks that have endurance to even possibly Broly's Face Crusher or anything else that could be useful in the later games. It's just a way to keep my resources up at the same time as making it where I can still cushion more blows at the later time if I'm really forced to. For my next physical defense is Saiyan Arm Catch. This one right here is just Endurance 2 with the Raise Anger 1. It's really meant for the Endurance and Anger. Otherwise, it's not very useful. And I only run 6 and 6 for my defenses. 6 physicals and 6 energies. The next one is for energies. Saiyan SWAT. Saiyan SWAT is just funny because I can just, if they use it, it stops an energy attack. Search my discard pile for a endurance card, and place it on top of my life deck. Basically, I can search for again Broly's Face Crusher and place it on top of my life deck. Make it aware that if they hit me hard, that's going to be all the damage right there. It's just going to annoy them, so they have to hit me with something weak to where I can hit them harder with something else. I'm forcing them to make a decision that they don't want to do. The next one is another energy, Saiyan Energy Deflection. Just like the Saiyan Arm Catch, it's really just there for the Endurance 2 and Raise an Anger 1. I'm trying to keep my speed up just enough to where I can still level up fast, but where I'm not going so fast to where I'm going faster than the opponent to where I'm hurting myself again. And last for my energy defense is Saiyan Club. I am trying this one out, and I'm actually kind of enjoying this one. This one here is not a greatly powerful one, but it's fun to play against with or play with, because I get to search my discard pile for a styled setup and play it. Anything I want that I want. It's funny. It's just basically meant to bring my resources back to me if I'm forced to it, like Saiyan Menace or Saiyan Enraged or anything else like that. It's just a good card. And like I said, I have only 6 and 6 for my energy and physical defense cards, and that's all I really need. These here are all my event cards. I'm running for one Saiyan Sword skill. It's really meant for the draw power part. I get to keep my hand at the same time as getting an extra hit effect. All my attacks skip your opponent's next action, and most people can't stand it. because most of the time I'm never doing critical damage effect. So I'm just littling their deck down with 4 life cards, 4 stages. Oh, converts into 4 life cards. It's most of my attacks are little attacks that are just barely below 5 life cards, and it just annoys them. And times the worst, so we all know what that's for. It's just complete hate.
Almost a staple in every deck.
Pretty much, yeah. Pretty much, almost a staple in every deck is exactly right. I'm actually trying this one out. This one here is from my good friend John right here. I'm trying this one out. I'm actually enjoying the fact that it's only at 1. I might try again one more, but I'm enjoying the fact that I'm going so slow to where I don't need to level up anymore. But Unleashed is basically, if I'm locked in a place, I get to level myself up from 1 to 2 levels, and I like that. If I had to face another Saiyan player, they'll hate every second of this because I get to lower them down. For my next events is Saiyan Rescue. Saiyan Rescue is just like my other cards. They're all about, this deck is all about just keeping myself alive as long as I can to make the opponent run through all their resources again. And then whenever they're finally done, I still have most of my good stuff to where I can just come back and start taking it from them. From a Saiyan grab that they had discarded through damage, or they decide on destroying it from my hand, or whatever they had to do. It's just basically I get to have my stuff back. And I'm running 2 of these just for the fact that if one gets tossed away, I still have a second one just for a second shot on getting it on him. It's really just for that reason. The next one is, and I've enjoyed this one. This one was a beta test card, and I found out that I love this thing a lot more. I might consider putting it at 3 now, because we played a game currently, and I had used Times of Warriors tool in this game a total of 3 times or 4. I think it was 4 times, right?
You got it off 3 times.
3 times.
I think you had a chance for the 4th, but red restriction kept you from doing it.
Yeah, that's right. And it's not the best direction to use this for, but it's just one of those fun games. But it is potentially able to do it for a long time, and you can loop this basically by using it. Get yourself an endurance card, put it on top, and if so, you can rejuve one of these and place it on the bottom of your life deck. So you will never have one of these here. You'll always have one of these at least. And like I said, for the late game, this here is just funny because you can just take back your time, put it on top of your life deck, and just steal the game from them for one full combat.
The only way I'd see that being bad is with Broly banishing the top card of your life deck and things that burn the top card.
Exactly.
So,
you got
situational.
Exactly. You got to make sure you play the card just right. Otherwise, it will mess up, just like John said. And lastly, for my events is my Omni Block. This one right here has proven its worth time and time again because I get to.
Boo! Look at that ugly thing.
Don't remind me of that, please. Let's have it right back here where it's
All right,
barely there, where people know that it's a third one. Because nobody likes seeing ugly cards. It's okay. Preferably, I prefer the Goku one just for the fact that it's Goku.
Fair enough.
Just for the fact that it's Goku. Anyways, it's really meant to be an Omni Block as well as to get my attached cards back onto my MP for an early game. If I pull them, it's funny at that point. I can just get my Saiyan Rescue or my Saiyan Sword skill. I was using for the longest time I was using Tree of Might in here. It's just that not good anymore. It's not good enough to my opinion. It takes up space, it takes up too much time and hassle just to try to use it, and it gives the opponent a free advantage against me, basically getting their freestyle drills on the board, and I do not like that whenever I see a good old Dr. Wheeler on the field. No, no thank you. And after all the events, I have only 5 setups in this deck. The true bane of all ally decks. Saiyan Menace.
Works so nasty in that Raditz now.
Exactly, it does. And I have found a very, very funny use with this thing in Broly. So basically, I just get I'm not worrying about getting this all the time. If it gets milled, it gets milled. Sweet. I get to have an opportunity of using that and making Saiyan Rescue be more live and more dangerous than just restocking my deck. I can now just do a free attack or in a way, and you can't stop it, can't block it. You lose those 3 stages, and if you don't got the stages, you lose light cards to it, and it's a form of discarding, not natural attack, and that's where it's funny. And like I said, if you're an allied deck you're going against, they will hate this card with a passion, an unbelievable passage.
Passion.
Thank you. I can speak sometimes. Selective speak. Another MPV card in this game for Saiyans is Saiyan Enrage. I had 3 in here. I found out that if I keep 3 in here, I'm going to still be going too fast for myself, and it will hurt me. This one right here, I regrettably had to knock down to 2, but it still sees its use all the time because I get to raise 2 anger, I get to gain 2 more potentially, and since I'll be bigger than most people, I'll always be able to draw, and it's just fun. I get to have more cards than the opponent does, and I get them to go through all their cards while I will have like 5, maybe 6, sometimes even 7 cards in my hand when they're down to their last 2. And I've done this to one of our other local players. He was playing a Black Turles. After he was finally done, I had a total of 7 cards in my hand. 2 of them were events, which were Saiyan drive-bys. The rest of them were all attacks, and I did not care about him hitting me at all, because it was just, I started slamming them down, just slamming them down, all the way down to 0, and I started doing light card damage with my energy attacks. And we know this card, we love it / hate it when people play it against us. Visiting the past. Everyone hates it.
I think I've actually cut that down to 1 now in my Red and Rage 13.
To tell you the truth, I've actually considered not using it anymore, just for the fact that I'm looking to find more space for energy attacks, but at the same time it still has that one use.
Definitely.
Basically just getting that one problem card that the opponent doesn't like, which is anywhere from Wall Breaker, Times of Warrior's Tool, Saiyan Grab, Saiyan Domination, and in this deck here, again, it is not just one card. It's not for Times of Warrior's Tool. It's meant for a lot. That's the beauty part about Saiyans. They have so many ways and so many answers in the entire deck that it doesn't matter. I can use that card for anything. Saiyan Drive-By, for an example, Saiyan Rescue, Unleashed. I have answers for everything, and I can get stuff and start resources back up again, and it just turns into a problem that nobody wants to deal with. Face Crusher, even, for example, just for the fact that I can just get an extra card back into my hand if it got discarded prior.
All right. So, out of everything, you said you're running 6 and 6 blocks. How do you feel that is, especially since like most of the meta right now seems real physical heavy? Do you feel like the energy blocks are really needed, or do you ever feel like you have too many blocks?
Not really. I found that still running 6 and 6, it's still better. Because you'll always find that one player that's going to be a very energy heavy deck, and just having those extra energy defense cards are always good. And really, those are the better ones that I found that I'd rather keep. As far as physical defense, physical decks that are really heavy, I am not really too worried about them because I'm normally always going to be bigger than them. So, sure, you get a very high powered attack, but you might not get the AT with it. So, sure, it's potential AT3, but there's a high chance you're only going to get 3.
Yeah.
So I don't care. I can absorb that, and I can just dish something out that's twice as hard. Because from level 2 and upward, my attacks do +2 to +4. So I hit harder. I hit way harder than you can. Your standard 3 is my standard 5. So yeah.
All right. So aside from that, are there any changes you think you'd like to make for the deck?
For changes, again, I would probably run in more energy attacks, but maybe by another by another 2.
Okay.
But I wouldn't go any higher than that. I tried running allies in here. It did not work. Just for the mere fact that when I placed them in here, I took away too many of my resources. Like I said, the entire deck relies on its resources, just enough to where it can survive. If you take away that resources, you might as well just be handing the opponent the game, because you're going to be just like all the other Saiyan players before, where they'll last for the first 5 turns and they'll lose, because not many Saiyan players can last against like the actual meta decks. Like I've played against Namekian Piccolo Knowledge Mastery version, and I've destroyed them with this. I destroyed them, and they took me into the late game.
Yeah.
Every bit of it was just not love at
So,
all.
what would you say is your worst matchup for this deck? I mean, obviously we saw the Red 13 matchup is
Yes.
not very favorable.
No, it is not. But here's the thing: as long as the opponent doesn't know what he's doing, as well as what you're doing with him, you can get the victory. Just the same reason why I have energy attacks in here so high. They don't know what to aim for. That's the only thing that I have.
Yeah.
Now, local players like John over here knows what I'm playing, knows how the deck works, so he knows how to counteract it pretty damn well. The only thing that this deck fears a lot is, in all honesty, is high-speed decks. High-speed decks like, well, excluding Saiyans. Saiyans are no real problem for me. It is high-speed decks like red decks or an orange deck, orange TN actually. High-speed decks like those that just care about getting anger and leveling up is more dangerous to me, in my opinion. Just for the fact that they're going to either try to beat you down. If they can't beat you down, they will try to just win by MPV victory. That's the one thing that deck has lacking. It got anger hate, but it doesn't have enough to stop the opponent. It has enough to prevent them from getting up to another level or 2 levels in one combat. It will make them forced to go into 1 level.
Yeah. Well, all right, man. Appreciate the deck profile. Stay tuned, guys, on the channel. There'll also be the game matches where me and him play out Red 13 versus Saiyan Broly and see how that goes as well.
All right.
So look forward to seeing everybody the next time for the channel. Like, subscribe, comment below. Later.
See you, man.